Hi, Alvin.
I see Melanie Gamble.
Oh, I didn't see you. I saw Alvin. Hey, Karen.
Good evening, everyone. The time is now 7 o'clock, and we want to be respectful of everyone's time. My name is Alvin Gainey, and I have the pleasure of serving as Florida PTA's Leadership Development Chair. And I want to welcome each and every one of you here to tonight's Road to Success presentation on professional and self-development for Florida PTA leaders. Just a quick glance at our agenda for the evening. We'll have a quick greetings. We'll cover some information on upcoming Florida PTA town halls, the Florida PTA 360-degree leadership development initiative, the Thrive PTA volunteer learning community. We'll cover any questions that you may have, hopefully provide you some answers. We'll have closing remarks, and then we will give you the remainder of your evening back. With that, again, I'd like to welcome you here, but on behalf of Florida PTA, we'd like to welcome our president, Ms. Carolyn Nelson Godert, to bring us greetings on behalf of Florida PTA.
Thank you, Alvin, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this evening's Road to Success edition on personal professional development, which is a subject that is near and dear to my heart. If you know me, you know that I believe strongly that each of us is responsible for ourselves, that we should not only seek out, but actively participate in those trainings which will make us better leaders, not just PTA leaders, but leaders that can carry what we learned into the community and let them know that PTA gave you that background. Lean in this evening. I know that Alvin has prepared for you what he calls a short presentation, but what I know will be filled with facts, information, and opportunities. Thanks again for being here, and we look forward to you joining us not only this evening, but at all of our Road to Success events, because each one brings to you an opportunity to grow. Thank you, Alvin.
Thank you, Madam President. And for those of you that joined in the process, again, welcome to everyone. I'd also like to recognize the coordinating vice president for our Leadership Development Committee, which is Mr. Lawrence Claremont, who is assisting us in the Zoom backgrounds this evening. With that, I would also like to take a moment to recognize any additional members of the executive committee that are with us this evening. You've already met Carolyn Nelson Goddard, our president-elect, Ms. Maxine Lewis. Lawrence Claremont is the vice president for leadership development. Mr. Burton Miller is the vice president for regions and councils. Ms. Charmaine Postal is vice president for membership development. Karen Mazzola is vice president for educational development. Melanie Williams, secretary, and Jude Bruno, treasurer. And if you're with us, you can feel free to come off mute and say good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.
Hello,
Good
everyone.
evening.
Thank you for coming on.
So thank you. So with that, I have the absolute pleasure of working alongside a group of professionals that really bring and lend quite a bit of work to the work of this committee. We are fortunate to have as a member of the committee, Ms. Adama Ducille, who is with the Broward Education Research Alliance, Mr. Vince Dawkins, who is the director in the Office of Family and Community Engagement for Miami-Dade County Public Schools, and Ms. Esther Parker, who is a John C. Maxwell Leadership Program graduate. She's a former member of the National PTA Board of Directors and kind of a all-around PTA know-it-all. I also have the pleasure of having someone to assist in balancing the work of this committee, and that is in the personage of Ms. Peng Tao. So I'd like to thank them for the work that they're doing for an initiative that is new to Florida PTA per se. We've always been in the business of developing our leaders. However, in recent years, this is the first time that we've had a committee that has been dedicated to that work. And we're very fortunate that the president, in her forethinking, thought that it was worthwhile to develop Florida PTA's volunteer leaders, not solely as PTA leaders, but as she mentioned before, 360-degree leaders, because truly we understand that our leaders are leading in other areas, and we want you all to be as effective as possible anywhere that you go. And our commitment as a committee is to be able to provide to you opportunities within PTA and outside of PTA that will better prepare you and, most importantly, continue to develop you personally and professionally as volunteer leaders. We like to start all of our trainings with our PTA mission. Why? Because if we start with the mission in mind, kind of finish with the mission in mind, everything that we've done in the middle will support our mission. And our mission is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. With that, let's jump right into tonight's conversation. As Carolyn mentioned, and as I've said before, it will be a rather short interaction as it relates to presentation, but hopefully we'll be able to address any questions and concerns that come from the field, because truly it is the members of our membership that we wish to enrich. So we need to hear from each and every one of you. So with that, we want to share a little bit of information this evening about the Florida PTA Town Halls. Also the brainchild of our president. And the purpose and mission was to go into areas in which we may not have recently had a global presence. And actually the first town hall will take place November 5th in Escambia County. Now these town halls are designed to conversation a topic that is either specific to an area, but most importantly, that will help us to be able to better provide from a advocacy standpoint for the children in those areas. Now, at the very core of these engagements, we are counting on stakeholder participation in these areas because aside from having a conversation, we hope to leave these conversations with outcomes that will drive our advocacy over the course of the next year. of course, as part of the charge of the Leadership Development Committee. We'll hope to be able to identify some areas as it relates to leadership and capacity building for your specific areas. So we are really, really excited to be going into Escambia County on November 5th. Now, here's your first opportunity to grab your phone, because on the screen is a QR code for registration. Now, registration closes in 2 days on October 28th at noon. So please, ma'am, please, sir, grab your phone, scan that QR code, and go ahead and register if you are in that Escambia County area or somewhere in the surrounding area. Now, there will be additional town halls to take place throughout the year, one to take place in Central Florida and one in South Florida. The dates and locations for both of those engagements are to be announced. However, we are certain that for the South Florida Town Hall, it will take place in Homestead, Florida. Another drive as it relates to areas of our state that may not have had a robust Florida PTA presence in recent years. And I'll be more than happy to share those QR codes with you a little bit later if need be. And Karen Mazzola also has the links that are going to be shared in the chat. So let's talk a little bit about the Florida PTA 360-degree Leadership Development Initiative. Now, again, as Carolyn mentioned in her opening remarks, if you know Carolyn, she has a rather passionate dedication to personal and professional development. And that's, again, not just within PTA, it is outside of PTA. So when presented with the opportunity to assist in leadership of this initiative, I jumped at the opportunity, understanding, of course, her vision for individual development. So I'm going to share a little bit with you about where we are as a committee. We are a new committee, and quite frankly, building from the ground up, kind of building the plane as we fly. But that's okay, because we've got, again, a group of individuals that are good at what they do. Now, it is our desire and our charge to implement leadership development opportunities that will better assist all of our members, okay? We'll also aid in the process of recruiting and training and retaining those effective leaders within our organization, because we want to equip you, but we also want to make certain that you use some of those talents and treasures continually with Florida PTA. Now, from that, the desired outcomes are the obvious things. It will, of course, improve the volunteer bench, if you may, as it relates to having members that are ready and willing to serve as leaders within the organization. It, of course, will impact our membership directly, and strategically it improves family and community engagement. It will, of course, enhance our advocacy efforts and hopefully better situate us from a financial standpoint, because with the development of our leaders, they will learn skills that will be of greater use to Florida PTA as it relates to resource development as well. Now, all of the opportunities that we present as a committee will not be opportunities that are presented by either Florida PTA or National PTA. Will be presented, some will be presented by outside entities. We know that in each of the counties in Florida, there are children's service councils that are doing really good work and good training in some of those areas. And as many of those opportunities that are offered virtually that we can kind of grab a hold of, we want to present those opportunities. Now, with that, the committee has a small budget to cover registration costs for certain classes for a certain number of people. So as those opportunities become available, stay tuned to the Florida PTA newsletter so that you're made aware of those opportunities. And what I will say to you is when you see an opportunity, jump on it as quick as you can, because they will go fast. We're not able to provide these opportunities to a lot of people. So we want to be extremely intentional about the opportunities that we provide, as well as those volunteer leaders that we select to receive those scholarships. Now, with that, we'd like to be able to hear from you as it relates to other topics and ideas that you'd like for the committee to pursue as it relates to providing training and support on. So, second opportunity, we'd like for you to scan the QR code and complete the very short survey and provide us some input from the field, because we want to be able to provide you opportunities and resources that are relevant to your individual and collective needs. So we need to hear from the membership. So in that case, we ask the question, what can Florida PTA do for you? We need for you to tell us. So the next area that we will cover is Thrive, which is the new and improved. It is hot off the presses. It's still got a tag on it. No one has even ripped off the brand new tag. Thrive is National PTA's new volunteer learning community. It replaces the old e-learning modules for those of you that have been around for a while and may have participated in those. And I would like to share that, some considerable resources, both from a financial standpoint as well as the human standpoint, have gone into creating this community for our volunteer leaders. So I would say to each and every one of you, leaders at every level of this organization, you should go on, register for Thrive, get engaged, and most importantly, there is something in all of the modules, there's something there for everyone. Currently, there are about 13 different offerings. Thrive launched in June of this year. And currently, there are 13 different online courses with many more that are currently being developed and released as part of a quarterly release module. So Thrive, again, is PTA's new learning community for volunteers and is brought to you by National PTA, which means it is available to each and every one of you because you are members of National PTA. It really brings leadership development trainings back to the palm of your hand, with you being able to do these things on demand. Through some of the engaging and rather short courses, you'll take trainings at your own time and pace. And that's what's really cool, because nothing is designed for you to spend a dedicated amount of time on anything. So you can kind of go in as you have free time. And for certain, if there's nothing more, Thrive is three things. It's engaging and it's empowering, but more so than any, it is designed with you in mind to be able to provide an opportunity for your continued leadership development. Again, there are course offerings on a number of topics such as membership. We've got PTA board basics, essentials for state board leaders, using emotional intelligence to lead state communications, interacting with decision makers, growing state membership, and of course, corresponding with and calling members of Congress. So as of right now, there are modules that kind of run the gamut of what we do as an organization. And so for those of you that may be a little more advocacy focused, there's something there to support you. For those of you that may be membership chairs in your respective local units or your counties, there's something there to support you. You're a new PTA leader. How am I going to manage PTA in a hybrid setting? There's something there to support you. Again, keep in mind that new courses launch every 3 months, and a new set recently came out towards the end of September. So how do you find and access Thrive? So from the National PTA website, which is pta.org, for those of you that may not be familiar, you'd go to the Running Your PTA tab. And if you were to scroll down just a little bit, past halfway of that tab, you'll see the Thrive Learning Community. When you click there, it'll take you to the Thrive landing page, which is where you will log in and verify your credentials. There are some instructions on how to log in. It's very simple. It's so simple that I could do it. And of course, once you're logged in, you'll have access to all of the classes that are currently available. The catalog looks similar to what is on your screen. And if you were to choose one, for instance, building your professional presence, this is kind of the visual that you'll get there. Gives you a rundown of the class itself, gives you an example of all of what's included in the course. And of course, it gives you the opportunity to go ahead and jump right in. You can, when you go into the catalog, you can, if you were to identify a number of classes that you're interested in, you can put it's kind of like Netflix. You can put all of those classes into your queue so that when you're ready, you've already got the next session already prepared for you. You're ready to jump right into the next thing. I have gone in and completed some work in Thrive. It is very easy to use, very, very, very user-friendly. So I encourage each and every one of you, because for lack of a better term, this is a resource that you have paid for as a member of National PTA. So it's a resource that you should take full advantage of. With that, I want to, before we open up for any questions or concerns that we may be able to address for you, I want to give you guys a few dates that I'd like for each and every one of you to remember for the very near future. There are going to be 3 rather important things going on with Florida PTA in the near future, outside of those town halls that I've already mentioned. The first is going to be our Florida PTA Legislative Conference, which will be held in person. We are extremely excited to be back in Tallahassee, Florida for our legislative conference. So mark your calendars and save the date, March 26th through 28th, 2023 in Tallahassee, Florida. We look forward to seeing each and every one of you again, an opportunity to be back in person for an event that we had kind of gone virtual over the course of the last few years. We've tried hybrid, but we are very happy to be back in person for this upcoming legislative conference. Also, for those of you that may not know, Florida PTA will be celebrating its centennial in April of 2023. We look pretty good for 100 years old. With that, we have a celebration that is currently being put together for all of us to be able to celebrate 100 years of advocating for Florida's children. The event will be hosted in Orlando, Florida, April the 14th and 15th. April 14th will be an open house at the state office, and April 15th will be a luncheon where we will culminate 100 years of advocacy. Now, registration for this event will open on or about December 1st, so look for it. And guess what? There's opportunities for you to be able to donate and support starting today. So if you would, another opportunity for you to grab that cell phone, scan the QR code, and it actually takes you directly to the Centennial Celebrations landing page on Florida PTA's website, where it provides some more information, and more so than any opportunities for you to be able to support. There are opportunities at every level, so there's something almost for everybody to be able to sow a seed and support this event. We are really excited. In fact, we've kind of been planning for about 1.5 years. So we're really looking forward to the culmination of this event. And of course, yes, we realize that it is only October. However, we want Lottie Dottie and everybody to know that the 2023 Florida PTA Leadership Convention is going to be held July 13th through the 16th at the Omni Orlando Resort at Champions Gate. Now, for those of you that were able to join us this past summer, realize we had a phenomenal time being back together and in a new venue. So we're looking forward to each and every one of you supporting, and more so than any, taking this opportunity as well for your personal and professional development. We are excited to be in the process of planning for workshops that will enrich you again, not just from the PTA standpoint, but for your own personal and professional development. So again, we need to hear from you because we want to know how to best serve you. With that, if you need to contact me or members of the committee, you can do so via email at leadership.development@floridapta.org. Again, that email address is leadership.development@floridapta.org. So if you've got questions, I may have some answers. If not, I'll make it up as we go along. I am not able to see the chat, so I will ask Karen Mazzola to assist me with that.
Thank you. We did have a couple, if you could go back to the slide that had the QR code for the survey. Some people didn't have their phones out that quickly.
Okay.
And I don't have a link to post for that unless you have one.
Alrighty, give me 1 second.
No problemo.
I have
And
one.
can you tell us on average how long the Thrive sessions are?
So again, and yes, I can. And the cool thing about Thrive, first of all, again, it is completely on demand. So if you get in the middle of a course and you've got to, I don't know, walk the dog or go grab a kid, you can always stop wherever you are, saves your progress, and you're able to go back into the learning management system and complete that course. It depends on the topic. Most of the courses, the two that I've participated in recently were less than half an hour. And each one of them has some sort of lecture is what I'll consider it to be. And then of course, there are some questions that you will answer at the end of each of those courses. Now, also something that's built into Thrive is a badging system, virtual badging. So for those of you that may not be familiar, through apps like LinkedIn and things of that nature, you're able to display badges of accomplishments that you have achieved, you know, if it be some sort of continuing education that you may have taken. And that way, this is an opportunity for those folks that may be looking for the next best thing as it relates to their career, to be a little bit more marketable. So again, you will develop skills here in Florida PTA that can easily translate to the private and public sector.
Thank you,
another
Alvin.
question?
Madam
course.
President has her hand up.
Yes.
Thank you, Karen and Alvin. So I wanted to give everybody a heads up. Be on the lookout for the November edition of our newsletter, where we will have an article concerning our 360 leadership training, as well as a link to the Thrive training. So you'll just have an article, just a little blurb that has some links for the things that were discussed this evening to give you just a way to get started and point it into the right direction for not only for Broward County's training that Alvin mentioned earlier, for other nonprofit websites that offer you training that I highly recommend you take advantage of.
Yes, thank you, Carolyn. And actually one in particular, in fact, Carolyn and I guess the pandemic was a good thing as it related to us having an opportunity to engage ourselves in some professional and personal development. And we found a number of different providers that are providing free training. And if they're charging for it, it's very, very little. And there are some courses actually with the University of South Florida that we've been engaged with probably the majority part of throughout quarantine and over the course of the rest of the pandemic. So there are a lot of opportunities out there. And again, we'll provide a lot of those opportunities again to you through the monthly newsletter.
Alvin, did you mention earlier, I may have missed it, that depending on when they register and complete courses, that some of them will be reimbursed if there's a charge?
That is correct. So as I shared, there are scholarship opportunities to be able to cover some of the costs. And we are looking again for the opportunity to be able to celebrate you. For those of you that really are able to dig into this and kind of follow this through over the course of the next year. So we're really looking forward to being able to celebrate you as well as enrich you over the course of the next year.
And one last thing, Alvin, sorry to monopolize here.
It's okay.
Matthew asked if the links were going to be shared in the band app on the Florida PTA band. All of
I'll
the
be more
links
than
that, thank you so much.
Of course. All righty. Do you have any other questions, Karen?
I see no other in the chat.
Okay. And if for, like I said, if for some reason something else comes up, you're more than welcome rather to reach out to us via email with any questions that you may have, and anything that we're able to assist you with, we'll be more than happy to do so. Again, the committee's working. It's a new committee, and we are really excited again to be able to provide you with these opportunities. So just another check. Karen, is there anything else in the chat?
Just saying this is wonderful. Thank you. Looking forward to figuring out how to do this training. This person actually said mandate it for our local leaders.
So, and that brings up, and I remember when I served at the local and council level, there were certain trainings that we required our volunteer leaders to complete. So it's an opportunity for you to be able to find at the local and council level opportunities that your boards can participate in. I know in the previous iteration in our e-learning modules, I think it was cultural sensitivity or something of that nature. There were a number of things that, we required all of our board members to take on an annual basis. So this is a great opportunity to not only take advantage of the opportunity, but also to avail others to this same opportunity. Again, as I shared with you in the beginning, we'd like to end our engagement with our mission statement. Again, to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. With that, we'd like to welcome Florida PTA's president-elect, Ms. Maxine Lewis, to bring us closing remarks.
I'm sorry, Alvin, we do have a comment in the chat. And
Okay,
that
go ahead.
is, what type of DEI resources are available? My principal was unaware of what it stood for at our last meeting.
Okay, is that from a training standpoint?
Erica, you can unmute if you want to clarify.
Please.
Yes, I'd like to find some resources to train the staff and also the administration. The school is 87% non-white, and I'm currently the only parent on the PTA.
Okay,
Really?
so Erica,
I need some help.
okay, so what I'd like for you to do is take that email address. Let's connect via email.
Absolutely.
Please send me your contact information and let's connect so that we can get you some resources or at least point you in the right direction.
I appreciate it.
Of course. Is there anything else? All righty, with that, Ms. Lewis.
Thank you so much, Alvin and team. Great job tonight. Again, everybody, I just want to say thank you so much on behalf of Florida PTA for giving up your dinner to spend time with Florida PTA and learning and enjoying what Alvin and his team had to say regarding leadership development. Again, we could not do it without you. So again, thank you so much for taking the time out to come on tonight. And also please remember to fill out the Leadership Development Committee survey with the link that was provided. And if you need anything, Alvin is always available 24 hours a day for any comments or concerns. So please reach out to him if you need any type of training at your unit. Thank you again, everyone, and have a great night and stay safe.
Thank you so much for that one, Maxine. She's almost right. I'm available about 23 hours out of the day, but I am definitely available to you, and I try my best to be responsive to each and every one of you. So feel free, if there's something that myself or the committee can provide for you, please reach out. There is no need for you to feel as if you are alone in this process, especially as it relates to training and development resources. No need for you to attempt to reinvent the wheel if it is something that Florida PTA has and can provide for you. With that, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for not only spending a part of your evening with us, but for being the right people in the right place, doing the right thing for the right and righteous reasons, which are our children. Thank you most of all for being there for my child, your child, and our children alike. Thank you all, and have a great remainder of your evening.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Janet.
Good night.
Good night, Asia. Recognize that voice anywhere.